Welcome back. Let's get you this development that has now taken place in the Supreme Court of India with this landmark verdict in the case of 32-year-old Harish Rana, who's been in a vegetative state. But it has now made India's first ever court that allows passive euthanasia in the country. Now, Harish Rana, who has been in a vegetative state for the last 13 years after he suffered severe head injuries from a fall and since has remained on life support, and a bench of Justices J.B. Pardiwala and K.V. Vishwanathan has directed a medical treatment being administered to Harish Rana, including the clinically assistive nutrition, be withdrawn. Here's what the Supreme Court bench said in its emotional judgment that it was passed, because why the Supreme Court allowed passive euthanasia, because there seems to be now no hope, saying that we are allowing the nature to take its own course when medicine does nothing but unnecessarily prolong a life. You are not abandoning your son. This has been said to the family, the parents of Harish, saying you're allowing him to live with dignity. And this is the best interest of the patient. That is only, that needs to be considered in this case. And as far as Harish Rana's family that approached the Supreme Court back in 2024, but did not get relief at that time. However, the court said that they granted them the liberty to move a petition once again if needed. And the family again subsequently approached the court last year. So here's what happened, in this case of Harish Rana. Let's take a look exactly when it comes to the message that came in from the Supreme Court, saying that prolonged absence of any comprehensive legislation on part of the government that actually compels the court to step in and fill in when it comes to this vacuum, because they've been urging the government also to enact a comprehensive legislation for cases similar to Harish Rana, because that has happened before as well. Now, the Supreme Court has also made some very strong observations over the lack of adequate legislation on this matter, as I said, and the observations that have now come in from the Supreme Court. What now happens next with Harish Rana? Because only medical treatment can now be withdrawn, and the doctors can remove the PEG tubes for Harish, and these actually were the tubes that was providing him nutrition. And that would be removed. His life support would now be removed. So passive euthanasia has now been approved on part of the Supreme Court of India, making this as a landmark verdict. We're going to head into a short break.